Hello everyone, I am here with a Bible study. Open up this cough drop really quick. I found a picture in a magazine tonight and I cut it out because I wanted to show it to you guys. I thought it looked so nice and peaceful, so pretty, and I wanted to show it to you guys on camera tonight. Isn't that so pretty? Just so relaxing. You can just hear the water going over the rocks. No one around yelling and screaming. Birds are chirping. So peaceful. That was nice. So tonight in our Bible study, we're going to be in the book of Matthew again. We was in Matthew, I believe last time, yes. We read Matthew chapter 4. This time, we will be reading Matthew chapter 13. Matthew chapter 13 verse 55 says, "Is this not the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary, and his brothers James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas?" They're talking about Jesus, of course. Okay, I'll read the devotion after I read. I'll read all of chapter 13, which is not that long, really. About as long as most of the regular ones are. It'll cover the parable of the sower, the parable of the weeds, the parable of the weeds explained, the mustard seed, the parable of the hidden treasure and the pearl, the parable of the net, a prophet without honor. So we'll be going through all of that in chapter 13. So let's get started. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, "A farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. He who has ears, let him hear." The disciples came to him and asked, "Why do you speak to the people in parables?" He replied, "The knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has will be given more, and he who will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken from him. This is why I speak to them in parables. Though seeing they do not see, though hearing they do not hear or understand. In them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. You will be ever hearing, but never understanding. You will be ever seeing, but never perceiving. For this people's hearts has become calloused. They hardly hear with their ears, and they have closed their eyes. Otherwise they might see with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their hearts, and turn, and I would heal them. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. For I tell you the truth, many prophets and righteous men longed to see what you see, but did not see it, and to hear what you hear, but did not hear it. Listen then to what the parable of the sower means. When anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one, Satan, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is the seed sown along the path. The one who received the seed that fell on rocky places is the man who hears the word and at once receives it with joy. But since he has no root, he lasts only a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, he quickly falls away. The one who received the seed that fell among the thorns is the man who hears the word, but the worries of the life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke it, making it unfruitful. But the one who received the seed that fell on good soil is the man who hears the word and understands it. He produces a crop yielding 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, "Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where then did these weeds come from?" "An enemy did this," he replied. The servants asked him, "Do you want us to go and pull them up?" "No," he answered, "because while you are pulling the weeds, you may root up the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. At that time I will tell the harvesters, 'First collect the weeds and tie them in bundles to be burned. Then gather the wheat and bring it into my barn.'" Now we're going to do the parable of the mustard seed and the yeast. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his field. Though it is the smallest of all your seeds, yet when it grows, it is the largest of garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and perch on its branches. He told them still another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed into a large amount of flour until it worked all through the dough. Jesus spoke all these things to the crowd in parables. He did not say anything to them without using a parable. So was fulfilled what was spoken through the prophet. "I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden since the creation of the world." Now, the parable of the weeds is going to be explained. Then he left the crowd and went into the house. His disciples came to him and said, "Explain to us the parable of the weeds in the field." He answered, "The one who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the Son of the kingdom. The weeds are the sons of the evil one, and the enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the harvesters are angels. As the weeds are pulled up and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out of his kingdom everything that causes sin and all who do evil. They will throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears, let them hear. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. Once again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was let down into the lake and caught all kinds of fish. When it was full, the fishermen pulled it up on the shore. Then they sat down and collected the good fish in baskets, but threw the bad fish away. This is how it will be at the end of the age. The angels will come and separate the wicked from the righteous, and throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Have you understood all these things? Jesus asked. Yes, they replied. He said to them, therefore, every teacher of the law who has been instructed about the kingdom of heaven is like the owner of a house, who brings out of his storehouse new treasures as well as old. When Jesus had finished these parables, he moved on from there, coming to his hometown. He began teaching the people in their synagogue, and they were amazed. Where did this man get this wisdom and these miraculous powers? They asked. Isn't this the carpenter's son? Isn't his mother's name Mary? And aren't his brothers James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas? Aren't all his sisters with us? Where did this man get all these things? And they took offense at him. But Jesus said to them, only in his hometown and in his own house is a prophet without honor. And he did not do many miracles there because of their lack of faith. So true, and they are so very disrespectful to Jesus. So many people were, weren't they? So very disrespectful to him. Let's see what our devotion is that goes along with it tonight. It is by Carol Mackey. I know she's wrote in here before. I remember reading one of hers before. One day when I had an appointment in New York City, I decided to walk to the commuter train from the suburb I live in. I typically drive, but it was a balmy summer day, and I needed to exercise. As I hurried through the large parking lot, I passed dozens of cars, and I noticed something. Almost all of them had vanity license plates. You know, the ones with personalized messages. In addition, there were license plates, frames, toting colleges, sports teams, sororities, and occupations, even Jesus. It was a mass showing of people wanting to be identified with something that they are proud of. I thought about Jesus. When the folks in the synagogue heard him teaching with authority and conviction, they couldn't believe he was who he claimed to be, the coming Messiah. They identified him as being Mary and Joseph's son. He identified himself as being God's only begotten son. They saw him as the quiet carpenter from Galilee. He saw himself as the Lamb of God who came to save the world. They resented that he, a mere man, could put himself on par with God. How dare he say he was the Son of God? So many people, said that to him. How dare he? Who does he think he is? They got their noses all out of joint. Matthew 13:57. As followers of Christ, we may find our identity in him questioned, ridiculed, or even mocked. Don't fret. His name is written on our hearts, and our names are written in heaven. That's better than any message on any license plate. Amen. I'd rather have my name written in heaven and written in the book of life than on any license plate. That's That's for sure. And who cares if they believe Jesus is the Son of God or not? Who cares if the people we know believe if Jesus is the Son of God or not? We try to get them to believe, but in the end, if they don't, they're going to find out that Jesus is the Son of God. One way or another, they're going to find out the truth. I mean, you can only try to help people so much. If they're not going to change, they're not going to change. Some people just won't change. But they will find out in the end. Everybody will find out in the end. The people that are Christians and the people that aren't, that Jesus is real and he is the Son of God. We'll all see Jesus. Every knee will bow and confess that Jesus is Lord. Let's see what it says for our homework tonight. Who do you identify with most? What are you most proud of? Think about your relationship to Jesus. You are and will always be his number one. John 6:37. That's so true. He loves us all individually. Loves us all. There's so many of us in the world, but he loves each and every single one of us. Just like we were the only one in the world. Isn't that amazing? Just like you do your kids. How many kids you have, you love each and every single one of them. Well, he does the same, and so does God. And he can keep up with all his children too, even though he has so many. He's got more power than we do. All right, guys. Well, our next Bible study is in Luke. It'll be Luke chapter 11, actually. I was thinking about reading a story tonight. I'm not sure if I'll have time here to get it done. But I want to go and mark this down. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's Bible study. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night and everybody gets a good night's sleep. Bye, guys.